Hello, Typology Tribe. Ian Morgan Cron, your host here on the show, on which we explore the mystery of the human personality through the lens of the Enneagram. Anthony Skinner.
Ian Cron, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing well. I think you just finished Storybrand, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Can we talk about that? You've been out?
Yeah, another corporate gig.
Yeah.
Talking to a team.
Yeah.
Amazing people.
Don Miller himself.
And JJ Peterson,
yeah,
who was just recently on the podcast. We just recorded a show with him.
Yep.
Amazing human beings.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm telling you, man, that outfit is legit.
Yeah,
like
they are. Oh
they
my gosh.
are amazing.
Yep.
Like the work that they do around branding and marketing, and incredibly innovative.
Yeah.
Really remarkably. I mean, it's just you can tell Don's a 3 with a 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got
yeah.
So he's got that drive and the ambition of a 3. But he's got the artist's mind.
Oh, man, absolutely.
Finding metaphor and bringing it into the business context. Pretty cool.
Yes, and if you haven't been to a Storybrand conference, you definitely should go, right?
Yeah, okay, so let's just do a free ad.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Storybrand.
Yes.
Right? If you're looking to figure out how to brand your company, get your message out there in a way that's coherent and winsome and winning.
Yes.
And clear.
Yeah.
To have clarity around your message
mm-hmm.
and what you want to do and accomplish in the world, from your inside to your outside, your website to your team, everywhere, right? Don Miller, Storybrand.
He's the guy, yeah.
Go to their website, man, because I'm telling you, they're the bomb. But
absolutely.
So I've done a lot of corporate. What?
No, I was going to say that's the free ad.
That's the. Oh, and the actual ad for today's episode is from.
Michael Cusick.
And
Restoring the Soul.
You know, Anthony,
yes.
I've had a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wish I could have sort of condensed it.
Which I'm thankful for.
Yes. I'm
because
sure
you had
are.
It all,
there,
you know.
Many people are.
Yeah.
Many people are grateful that I've had some serious mental tuning. But some people can't do what I've done, which is like spread therapy out over 40 years.
Right.
Sometimes they need it faster and in a hurry.
Right.
And who do they call when that happens?
Michael Cusick.
And?
He picks up the phone.
He does indeed.
That's right.
Michael Cusick, friend for 30 years, one of the best therapists I know. And he knows that people oftentimes can't wait years or months, right, of meeting with a therapist week to week to week. For 50-minute sessions, right?
Sometimes you're on fire.
Sometimes you're on fire.
That's right.
And you need intensive blocks. You need a week or 2 weeks of half-day block intensive counseling sessions. And it isn't just for people who are on fire. It can just be people who are just super eager and ready to go.
Right.
And they want to do a deep dive and they want to get really right down to the root of what's happening in their lives, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you fall into that category, you need to call Michael Cusick at 303-932-9777. That is 903-933. Número 9777. You didn't think I could do that, did you?
I was wondering there at the very end.
Yeah, no, I brought it home.
You had me holding my breath.
That's right. Or you can go to restoringthesoul.com and find out more about them, or go to restoringthesoul.com/typology and get your free PDF of 5 ways
unaddressed trauma may be affecting your relationship.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Long-time sponsor, apparently. All right, so I've done all these corporate gigs. One of my favorite of all times.
Yes.
It is up there in the pantheon. It may be top 2 or 3 of my favorite corporate gigs of all time.
Yes.
Was with a company called Boosterthon.
Okay.
And I'm going to let these guys explain to you what Boosterthon is, okay? Because they'll do it in a way that I cannot.
Yeah.
Right? But I have never in my life seriously had more fun with a group of people than I had with these folks.
Wow.
Like I had 70 or 80 people were there, and their spouses. And from the moment I hit the ground, I knew that I was surrounded by more 7s than I will be for the rest of my life.
That's great.
It was like landing in a room full of Tiggers everywhere. Joy was breaking out. I thought everybody was maybe like the tops of their head were going to come off and confetti was going to fly out periodically.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
That's great.
So let me introduce everybody to my friends Stan and Chris. Hey, guys.
Thanks for having us on, Ian.
Hi, Ian.
Yeah. one of the reasons I loved this thing, Anthony, this event was Chris is a 7. He's the founder of Boosterthon.
Mm-hmm.
Stan is the CFO, and he's a 6.
All right.
And the dynamic between them was so cool. I said, we got to get these guys on the show, man, because it was killer. And actually exemplified the power and the potential the Enneagram has.
Wow, that's cool.
For helping companies understand leadership
Yeah.
and how people work together and how different types see the world and they complement each other, and how when they know the Enneagram, like the difference it can make for their teams and for their whole company.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump to it. Chris, first of all, man, I'm really glad you're here. Because like when you walked in the room, I could turn the lights off. It was like already lit up. That's the thing with 7s, man. It's really great.
Fired up.
Tell everybody what Boosterthon is.
Yep. So back in college,
Yep.
I saw the need for a non-product sale fundraiser.
Right.
So schools had done some of their own fun runs before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they do it themselves, a lot of work. I came up with the idea of let's see if we can serve schools. My mom was a teacher for 35 years, so I grew up in an educator's home.
Right.
How can we host a non-fundraising feel fundraiser
Right.
that does the work for them, that raises lots of money, but that also teaches character lessons to students?
Right.
So the Boosterthon Fun Run was born. The word fun is in the name of our
Yes, it
organization.
is.
So
Yes.
wanted to make a difference, wanted to change the world. And that was 17 years ago. And we currently now serve about 3,500 schools, 3 million students. We've raised, elementary schools have profited over $270 million. And we feel like we're just getting started. Got an amazing team. We love what we do. And it's missional and it's exciting.
$270 million of fun.
Wow.
272 million to be exact.
I love it.
That's my CFO.
There you go.
You know, for a 7,
I almost said
approximates,
300 or 400.
approximates are
Classic.
just fine
Yeah.
for the 7, right?
Yeah.
6 is going to hone in on it, man.
That's right.
Right? He wants to make sure that nobody like gets the numbers wrong, right? All right. Now, you two guys have been together for how long? 8, 9 years as a team?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So tell me how that happened.
Well, I was consulting at the time. My wife, Ann, and I had our own company, and I'd been consulting as a CFO for small companies. And my son was a senior in high school, and I decided I wanted to get back full-time, sink my teeth into something meaningful and do that. And I met a mutual friend of Chris's and just sharing a story with him. And I said, I'm looking to do this. And he goes, I have a guy who's looking for a CFO. At the time, Booster was about a pretty small company at the time and had never had a full-time CFO. So I called Chris up, and next thing I know, I'm working for Booster. And I was by far the oldest person there, and it was a great experience for me.
The wisest. We needed them. So it's coming out of the recession. We're raising funds. We're helping schools. I had all things 7 figured out. We're literally confetti and tunnels and wind feathers and kids are running and soundtracks. I mean, this is what we do. We love it. And we were about to go out of business. And we had no business model.
Right.
And I knew that I needed someone that I could trust as a right-hand man to me, and a leader that we agreed in values, but that had a completely complementary skill set. I needed the opposite of me in skill, but someone that valued what I valued in terms of serving people and giving life to people and having a positive outlook.
Man.
So I found Stan the man.
It was awesome.
All right. So what I want to do is learn about you two through the lens of each other. So tell me about 6s as you understand them as a result of your relationship with Stan.
Wow. Stan, I think, is a very healthy, unique 6. We're very aligned on values. He's extremely optimistic. So while he is a risk preventer, he's not an opportunity preventer. And to me, that's what did it. I mean, I did not want someone risky and entrepreneurial like me, but at the time, Stan and his wife had started a business together. He's married to a 7, so that helps. He's had lots of years of experience of knowing one. So the fact that he knew that risk and taking chances and sales and growth is just part of it, he could anchor his skill set of how do we minimize risk and how do we systematize and organize things, sequence things. So that was what made it such a great fit. We've only learned for the last 9 years how to work together better, how to appreciate the true gift. He knew that I hired his 6, and that's what I needed because I didn't have any of it and still don't. But I knew that the end goal was the same. how do we get to the right destination to serve others, but to do it in a way that was sustainable and not just fun.
Right.
So
what do you most appreciate about working for you as a 7? What's
Yep.
the best thing
Yep.
or the thing you most appreciate about working with Stan as a 6?
Stan has my back. He's loyal to not just the organization. He's so objective, he will tell me things and ways in which he disagrees with me if it's best for the organization. And I know he's for me and my family and my wife and my kids, and he has a holistic, he's a defender of Chris and of Booster in a way that everyone would say, this is who I want, defending me in my house or in the ring with me. And so sense of loyalty that I love, and it's an emotional connection between us. Look, we've been through 9 years, built a business, come out of the recession, and we're still doing it.
Right.
Serving more and growing more than ever before.
How many employees are there?
It's about 1,000.
That's a lot of fun runs, man.
Yes. Yes.
1,000 employees.
Yeah.
How many would you have, honestly now? So how many would you have if Stan wasn't with you?
Oh, we'd be out of business today.
I don't know if that's true.
It's very close to true. Yes.
I mean, I think that's really important that people know that, right?
It's 100% true. I would have kept hitting the gas in potentially the wrong launched. My gut reaction
Right.
when the recession was happening
Right.
was to grow faster and let's do more.
Right.
And in some ways that might be correct, but in the context of where we were, we had to grow smarter and be strategic. Where do we grow? When do we grow? How do we grow? How do you deploy capital, resources, allocation? And Stan's the one that helped us prioritize all of that. So, maybe we'd be in business, but we'd be a quarter of our size or less. So we've grown 800% in 9 years since Stan's been with us. So
Wow. That's an intense story.
Yeah.
You have 1,000 employees. And really, I mean, you were actually killing a stereotype that I'm really, really glad about, which is that people tend to think of 6s as being, well, actually, you were laughing earlier, right? Because your wife, Ann, was saying that she used to call you the ruiner.
Yes.
That's
I rained on her parade.
Yeah.
Any idea? So I don't know about that.
Okay, but hold on a second. So people would maybe, as a stereotype, think 6s would bring an organization down or make it constrict it or confine it. But what you just communicated was that without him, it would not have grown.
that's correct. He helped. He did constrict us at the right time and in the right ways.
Right.
And in doing so, like pruning, right, it constricted some bad decisions. It allowed me to focus. I mean, I'm living in 10 years out and everything's kind of important. How do I sequence it? So Stan helped me think through if there's only a limited amount of resources, we got to really prioritize and focus. So I learned the value of focus in that season by watching Stan and us making these decisions together.
Wow.
So
I love what you said when you came into the room where you plan for adventure and Stan plans for misadventure.
we're still doing that.
We do that all the time.
I mean, I just think that's fantastic.
It is.
I mean, this partnership to me is like just mint.
Yeah.
For understanding the complementary nature of personalities,
Yes.
right? And when you know the Enneagram, man, it's like you can tune this in so much faster. Just tune it in. So before I move on to Stan, how has the Enneagram helped you guys in business?
Oh man. Well, since you did our training, the conversation existed, but having you come and passing out the books to everybody, and then when you do it again in a few months and the entire organization, not just the leadership team, experiences it, it's giving us language that allows us to appreciate all the positive God-given attributes of each individual and say none of us are as healthy as we could be, but with the help, the collective community, we could become even more healthy. And when health exists, trust exists, and therefore success for the organization and our clients exist. I mean, virtuous cycles begin when you know yourself and know others, and you value the diversity of the way we're all uniquely made. And I think you just help pour fuel on that fire. We've always had that underlying belief. You gave us more language to use. You allowed us to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously, point out some areas of weakness. And, as much as anything, I think you've helped us personally discover that, besides the 8, 10, 12-hour days when we're home with our family or relationships, friends, the healthiest version of ourselves can come alive and bring health to communities, not just work. So
Continue.
Sure book. I know you invented the Enneagram, the Enneagram.
That's right.
We had heard of it in some ways for years, but the way you packaged and popularized it in a way that an organization can take a bite and put it into our leader development program and our HR team in such a way that it's become a conversation. And because we championed it from the top and said, this is knowing yourself is great, wherever you are on the spectrum, healthy, unhealthy, knowing that it's about the direction, not perfection, and what trajectory we're going in. And we're all collectively building the culture we want to bring out the best in each other. Right. We value culture as much as any organization. I think we achieve success for our clients because we have incredible team members. Right. Because of the culture that they all, 1,000 of them, uniquely add to. And knowing who they are, valuing one another, seeing the best in each other, just creates really dynamic conversations that we grow into and make us better.
So it's so interesting. One of the things that I sort of gauge as a sign of health in an organization, and this is legit, right? If this is missing, then I worry about the company I'm working with. If there's no laughter. Yep. That makes me very concerned. If I'm in a company and there's no laughter, I'm like, uh-oh, something's wrong in here, right? Yeah. Or if it's very muted, you know what I mean? Like, and I make a, I bake into my calculations that different companies attract different kinds of people, and so it's not like. But if there's no sense of joy in the work or in the culture, then I know we've got a broken company. Right. And I'm telling you, man, you're like the happiest, most fun company I've ever worked with in my entire life. So if that is any gauge, man, your company is going to grow a lot faster than it has because there's so much joy. I'm sure you're. It's true. I'd love to see your employee surveys, man, because I bet you they probably all say the same thing.
Really good.
They're at an all-time high.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. It's awesome. Stan, now we're talking about. He just spoke about you. All right. Right. So talk about your relationship with Chris through the eyes of a 6. And your experience of him at Booster.
Well, when I started the company, I'm married to a 7. But when I started with the company, I was just amazed at Chris's enthusiasm and his optimism, and the way that's what's carried the day for the company. Without Chris here, he sets the tone for the culture. And as I moved into this position, I tried to balance my need to go to the safe spot as a 6 would do versus not stymieing or putting the brakes on or stopping this booster train that we had going. So it was a little bit a feeling out when I started with the company because Chris is so dynamic. Chris could convince you. I'll give you an example as a 6 when I was doing in the interview process. On my 50th birthday, Chris convinced me to jump off a 40-foot cliff into water, something I never would have done otherwise. And so Chris is so persuasive. I want to be there as a 6, not to stomp on that, but to go along with it. And so as I took the job, I realized that I did need to put the brakes on, but Chris is so dynamic, and his ideas that have carried the company forward, I didn't want to put those out either. So it was a dance for me for us to gain trust with each other so that if I tapped the brakes, he trusted that. And if he said, we need to go forward with this, I need to trust that. So as we move, we've grown into this really solid relationship over the last 8.5 years where we know each other really well. And the level of trust is as high as it's ever been. And Chris is so dynamic with that. I trust his judgment with everything that we put forward. So it's been a remarkable experience for me. It's been great.
Man. It's so funny. You were just about enthusiasm, and I don't know if I've ever said this before, but you know what the word enthusiasm means in the original language, right?
Entheos.
Entheos. Did we have this conversation?
No.
So it's such a beautiful idea of in God, right?
Yep.
And so, I think enthusiasm, right, is a word we don't actually take seriously enough, right?
It's our company. It's value number 2. So everywhere in our office is the word enthusiasm.
What are the values of the company?
Integrity, enthusiasm, leadership, results, and community.
Wow. Anthony.
Yes.
That's going to be ours now. All 5 of those things. There's just only 2 of us, though.
You can have them. We're about to update them.
Oh, you
for 17 years. We're going to refresh them this coming July, the day before you do our training, actually.
Really?
So I'm not ready to reveal them to the world yet because I haven't revealed them to our organization, but been thinking about it for 2 years. Words that better describe, more descriptive and more distinctive of who we actually are. Those are good words that I just listed. I see them too often in organizations that I don't think have our definition of them. So we're going to be unveiling them in a few months. So
what are you most excited about right now?
the future.
Besides everything. The future. He didn't even see, he didn't even blink.
I love it.
He didn't even blink. The future.
So as soon as I got your book, a year ago, and I literally, as soon as I read this sentence, I said, I'm calling Ian and seeing if he can speak to our company. When you describe the 7, and one of your phrases is, the future is so exciting, I can hardly wait for it to get here. I'm like, that is me. He knows me. I've never met this man. He must do my company training. It has to happen.
That is right. Well, I'm glad you read that sentence.
Yes.
I'm glad you read that sentence.
I'm excited about lots of things in life. I have a wonderful, I'm grateful for so many things, joyful life, from my wife to kids to family, community, company. But I think about and most excited about what's coming, providing opportunity for my team, how we can serve our clients more. I'm thinking about the future all the time.
Right. One of the things that 7 struggle with is the ability to stay in the present moment, right? And I think you and I had this conversation, right, when we were together. Like, and it is important to think about the future. Obviously, we're human beings, that's why we're still here. Evolution would not have been kind to us if we hadn't had the ability to think forwardly, right? Do you see the value, and how do you stay in the present moment instead of having your head always in the future?
Wow. It's my theme of the year. I'm 7 with an 8 wing. So I got my goal is be present. That is, I look at it every day. It's my goal for the year. I'm married to a 9 who is amazingly in the moment.
And is here in the room.
She's in the room and I'm looking at her. And our marriage counseling the last couple of years has been about how can I stay in the moment. So I'm aware of it. I don't want to lose my strength of being in the future, but I at the same time need to be as present as possible, at least to those that love me the most and that I make an impact on. So I'm aware of it, but it is a challenge. My mind is always going to the future, 10 years from now or 5 years from now, or what we're doing for dinner tonight.
Because you always got to remember, right? Like, if where is God? Well, here now.
Yep.
Is God in the future? Yeah, of course. But God conveniently has the advantage of not being part of the time continuum. But the place that we're most apt to bump into God is right now.
That's right.
In this moment. And sometimes we miss out on God if we lived either in the past, like 4s do, like me. We live too much in the past, right? Or like a 7 has the opposite problem, but the same result, which is missing out on what God's doing right now, right? In the moment.
A tactic that I did 2 months ago, and we'll do again next month, and I'm going to try to make it part of the rhythm of my life, is to take a almost full day away of what the word that probably scares me the most, solitude. But as a hyperactive, extroverted 7, the first hour is kind of, so I went away to the mountains of North Carolina by myself for 22 hours about a month ago, and came back with clarity, refreshment. My soul felt nourished. My mind was clear. I mean, so good that I told my wife, Lindy, I think I should do this once a month. She said, that's probably unrealistic, but a few times a year.
But you were enthusiastic.
And I was in the moment more, and I was clearer about the future more. So it took an effort to do it, suggested probably by you, but
it's important.
I came back healthier than when I left. Yeah.
Yeah. Hard though. Hard for 7s to settle in and just learn how to be. Right?
Very hard.
So hard. 6s live in the future too, but it's a different kind of future, isn't it, Stan?
It is. It's a worst case scenario future.
Yeah. The future is not all bright. The future is not all full of fun and adventure. It has all kinds of potential negative possibilities. Has that been a theme in your life of sort of scanning the horizon, of sort of keeping an eye out for what could go wrong? Is that been part of your personality?
I like to think of it, Jim Collins calls it productive paranoia. And
that's good.
I think it's Great by Choice. He mentions that, and it's one of my favorite books. And productive paranoia really strikes me because it talks about it in the business sense. He talks about companies being 10x companies, excelling. And one of the things he talks about it in the context of companies, creating the war chest of cash, to making sure you can weather the recession or the downturn in the economy. And that speaks to me as the CFO. And I love that term. That's what I kind of think of myself in that regard, as productive paranoia. And it's something that I've worked with Chris on, and he and I have worked well with that with Booster. And I think we're in a good spot there.
So my son is a 7. This is so funny. First of all, I want you to know that that was
Congratulations.
What's that?
Congratulations on having a fun 7 son.
So, first off, productive paranoia is like worth the whole price of this day.
Yes.
For a 6, is understanding
Yep.
that they're the value of
Yes.
being able to forecast
right.
problems.
Yeah.
And it can be productive. It doesn't have to be a bummer. It can
Mhm.
actually be an incredible value if the 6 is healthy,
Mhm.
right? Because productive paranoia is different than just muted pessimism.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that, right? I love productive paranoia. Listen to me, 6s, you should all be productively paranoid. We need productively paranoid people in the world. But my son, right? So you're productively paranoid. I talk to my son who's a 7. I say, he suffers from pronoia. And pronoia is the delusional belief that everyone is plotting the next fun thing to do for them. That's pronoia, right?
Great.
It's true, right?
Yep.
It's like the world is conspiring something fun.
All of us 7s are.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, I think 7s have FOMO and 6s have JOMO, joy of missing out.
Is that right?
I think so.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
FOMO and JOMO.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the name of a podcast coming up. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling one. FOMO and JOMO. I think that'll be good. I think that'll be all right. He's over here going, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be all right. So here's a question. Now let's get down to some personal stuff here, because you guys are dear friends, right?
Yeah.
What do you know about Stan, or that you wish he knew about himself and believed?
Wow.
Wow.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Man. Stan has so much life experience and wisdom, which is why one of the reasons I hired him. He's 20 years older than me. He's 20 years more organizational business wisdom. So he can reflect on good times and bad times and a variety of organizations he's worked in, a variety of different people he's worked with. Stan is the most loved team member we have. And he brushes that off and, oh no, I'm slightly older than the average age of a team member. But he's not only is he loved, he's cool. He is cool and loved because he just owns who he is. He's wise. He's like a father figure, literally a father figure to so many. Stan's office 3 days a week has someone in it for lunch that's learning about, hey, tell me about my personal finances. How should I budget? I'm thinking about starting a family. What do you think? Give you some marriage advice, because they know he's trusted. They know he's wise. And he's reluctant to give himself credit for how wise he is.
Yes, I am. Reluctant.
How do you feel how did you just feel when he said that?
I don't like the spotlight, and
Yes.
I'm grateful for that. But I love it that you say that, but I'm uncomfortable with of that spotlight.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
So actually, that's out of the literature, actually, that answer that you just gave. Oftentimes, 6s don't like the spotlight because the spotlight attracts attention. And sometimes 6s they like recognition, but not too much.
Yep.
Because, the nail that sticks out gets hammered. So it's like, give me some, but not too much, So there's a little bit of that sort of, that kind of could put me in a place where, my safety and security get thrown at risk if I stick out, So
Right.
sometimes are you guys resonating with that? Or I'm talking to wives here for those you can't see. I mean, Lindy and Ann are in the room. I mean, I think that's true of 6s, So right now, let's reverse the question. What do you know about Chris that you wish he knew about himself, that he believed about himself, but doesn't?
I don't know if Chris believes this about himself, but I think it would surprise Chris to know that he's invested in a lot of people's lives and more. And I don't know if Lindy would agree with this, but Chris listens to what I say. He comes into my office and looks at me, and he's not anywhere else. And what I know of a 7 and what I know of ENFPs, Chris is engaged, and he wants to know what's going on with my life. He wants to know what's going on with my son. He's in the present for me, and when I've got an important news to deliver to him about Booster, he's there, and he listens and he respects it. And a lot of times 7s, I don't think do that. They're thinking about the next thing. They're thinking about the next meeting they're going to have. And I don't know if Chris knows that about himself, but he's he's totally on board and engaged with me when I need for him to be, and I love that. I think that's why we work so well together.
That's good, because I think an unhealthy 7
Yeah.
is distractible, and you can actually be talking to them in the moment and know they're not there.
Yeah.
That they are
Oh, yeah,
already past this
absolutely.
conversation. This
Right.
conversation ended when
Absolutely.
it started. They were already on to thinking about what else was next.
And I don't find that in Chris, especially in the important things. I know when to grab Chris and to get his attention and when not to. And when I read that situation right, he's all in. Comes into my office, shuts the door, and we talk. It's awesome.
So I want to ask you guys something about business. You have a thriving, successful business. It's growing. It's serving a great function in the world. It's tapping into the best of who you both are as people. So I'm really going to respect your read on this. Tools like the Enneagram oftentimes aren't valued in companies until oftentimes, like people, this is what I get a lot of times. Like, yeah, it sounds woo-woo. It sounds a little therapeutic or a little bit too touchy-feely. We want something that is about the bottom line. We want to bring somebody in that, Now, that's happening less and less as companies realize that particular kind of worldview has risk, right, involved. So you've had this experience with the Enneagram in the company. Apparently, it's had some rich and positive effect.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now, Chris was talking about from his. How do you see the benefits of a company or a team knowing the Enneagram? Like, how does it help?
I think it gives you a platform in which to start a conversation with someone, knowing what's important to them. If I have people on my team who are different numbers, different Enneagram, I try to remember what it is that's important to them and how they see the world, because with that you can motivate someone properly. If you don't know that, I don't think you understand how to motivate somebody and get them to do their job you want them to do.
So if a guy came to you, a CEO of a company or another CFO, and said, "Hey, we're thinking about having an Enneagram teacher like Ian or somebody else come in. Should we do it, and why?" What would you say about the why part of it?
The why is because it creates you mentioned earlier, if you walk into a company that's not laughing and not have a lot of joy there, I think it's because people don't understand each other. They've got the agendas of the numbers, and they're not getting it. And I think the seminar that you gave to our company was phenomenal, and it was in fact it was life-changing for me, both personally and professionally, to see that, because the Enneagram does something different than a lot of the other personalities. That you get to know yourself better. And the thing that appeals to me is that it reveals your unhealthy version of yourself.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of other personality types do that. And it's hard. When I took the Enneagram and I read about the 6, my first response is, I don't want to be this way. But by the same token, understanding yourself and understanding your unhealthy self is hugely important.
Right.
That's what I liked about it.
Yeah. Same question. What do you think, Chris?
Oh, I got lots of thoughts on this. So we got into the Myers-Briggs a lot a decade ago. If you walk in our office, everyone has their name, their title. So it'll say Stan Holcombe, CFO, year started. If you say years of the company, you got to keep updating it. So you say the year started, and then underneath it, their Myers-Briggs. When you come in July, we will add to that their Enneagram. So it'll be on every. So I mean, what we've been used to is, there's the ISTJ with the door closed. That means something different. The ENFP's door is open, right? So that's been the language. Enneagram, we feel like complements that, gives the I mean, we're in at the end of the day, especially in 2019. This is a war on talent. Like, where do we find the greatest people? And then once they're on our team, if we can get them on our team, how can we attract them, and how can we unleash their potential for their engagement, for their good, and the organization's good? And the answer is culture. If you have the best culture, you will attract the best talent. And this is what I think about more than anything else. How can we have America's best organizational culture? And you can't have a great work culture or a healthy culture if you don't have healthy people.
Right.
And I mean, our culture is 1,000 individuals with great, unique gifts. And if I could do something to inspire, bring them together, create conversations they can grow into, move them in a direction for the common good, for their good, not only will it make them better personally, it will also improve the organization. It'll create a place that I want to work at, that I want my kids to work at one day. So, I mean, being a privately held organization that's just my wife and I, we don't have to report to Wall Street. We have a very long view. We want to do this forever. I want an organization that I want to work at. She can come to. My kids might want to work at one day, which is filled with just remarkable people that are healthy. And the advantage, my vision has always been, even pre-Booster, I want to change the world. Well, how do I do that in the lives of individuals? If there's any way I can move the needle where their work environment can somehow affect their non-working hours, make them a better husband or wife or father, mother, friend, then to me that's a home run.
Man, that's huge. I mean, that is huge. And part of the reason I love that answer is I find that the most forward-thinking, track record proven leaders are people who care about their people beyond the workplace, that they understand that they're not just leading, they're stewarding, and that they have been entrusted with people's lives that work for them, and that that people are more than producers, right? They're not this. I mean, they bring their lives with them. They bring their heartaches. They bring their worries. They bring their anxieties. They bring their weaknesses. They bring their strengths. They bring their joys to work every day, and those have to be baked into the calculations, right? If you're going to create a great team, a great organization where people can grow into their fullness of their whole person, I mean.
Yeah, and I'll say that, and I've never worked in an organization more committed to that, and Chris leads that, and it's his passion, and that's Booster's secret sauce.
Right. Well, that's why you're at 1,000 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's why you're growing, man. Because things that are unhealthy don't grow like that. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. And that's really, really powerful.
What's fun is not just see the growth of the organization or the growth of numbers of team members, but for me to see a team member that remember when they started when they were 22 and see them now at 26 and think, you've grown 20 years of wisdom in 4 years because you're surrounded by the right people and the right culture.
Right.
I think the biggest testament to that are those team members who leave us and we take pride in launching people into launching our team members into, bigger and better things in their life for something that fits better. And Chris almost weekly probably gets someone who reaches out to him and thanks him for their experience at Booster, because most of our team members, this is their first job they've ever had. Right. So it sets the bar pretty high, and they are more appreciative after Booster than most people who leave companies. It's remarkable.
So have you guys read Ray Dalio's book, Principles?
I have. No.
Do you know? So Ray Dalio is the...
Heard of it. I've bought it. I've started the process. I think it's actually on my counter. I don't think I've opened the page. But
Actually, I listened to it. And actually, he reads it, which makes it kind of fun, So for those of you who don't know, Ray Dalio is the founder and the CEO of Bridgewater, which is the largest hedge fund in the world, right? Number one hedge fund in the world. He's a very quirky guy.
Yeah.
But I'm fascinated with him. He spends, though, a couple of 10 pages talking about personality tests.
Wow.
And how they revolutionized his company. But here's where I want to get you on this, because I'm about to change your life. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
Let's hear it.
So when you joined the team at Bridgewater, you spend there's a month training, right? And it's pretty intense because this company's pretty intense. When you read about it, you'll be like, whoa, this is an intense company, right? But they do put them through a battery of personality testing to make sure that, not that they just want to understand their team, and they want their team to understand each other. It's a little bit more than that, but let's just leave it there for the second. When they know it, right? They know, let's say they're Enneagram type or they're a Myers-Briggs type or whatever. They make a baseball card.
I love it.
Well,
we need those.
You made baseball cards.
It was like a decade ago.
We
need to do it again. It's been a while.
Yeah. Okay, no. So on the baseball card, they literally have the person in a baseball outfit with a bat. Hold on a second. And under it is like their name, their Enneagram type, their Myers-Briggs type or whatever, their Colby, their disc, whatever it is.
I've done them all.
And they're also in their team computer. When they're creating teams, sometimes they'll get their baseball cards out.
Chris and I love baseball.
Stan, let's just make the executive decision right now on the air. We're doing this next year.
I'm all in.
Perfect. Can everybody wear a Braves uniform?
For everyone in the company.
I love it.
And then you got to make it available online. People can go through the baseball cards,
Oh, this is great. And my sons are now into baseball cards. I'm coaching 2 baseball teams. This is it. It's the best idea. Thanks for having me on the show to give me the idea of baseball cards. Done. I love it. Get ready, Booster Nation, if you're listening to this.
Oh, man. That is too funny. I had to bring up the baseball cards.
Love it.
I thought it was perfection. So what's in the future for Booster? I want to know, like you've alluded to some things, but what are the things that let me ask you this. What are you most excited about? What are you most anxious about? Like, what are you most excited about? What are you most anxious about?
I'll probably find a way to dodge the anxious question, or at least forget
Don't
about
worry,
it
I'll hold your feet to
as
the
I'm
fire.
answering this.
I'm a 4. I can hold your feet to that
yes,
fire.
you can. You did that. Well, twofold. One, big picture. I am excited about, over time, becoming the best culture in America that fuels people, inspires people, and ultimately changes the world, and does so just as much through their personal lives as it does their professional lives. What I'm excited professionally, tactically, there's 100,000 elementary schools in America. We're currently working with not quite even 4,000, and we're the largest organization in our space. And that's not including middle schools, which we're piloting right now. We currently do fitness fundraisers. But I think what schools really want is not just meet the short-term need, but to have a problem solved. So we are in the middle of transforming ourselves from just a fundraising company to a school solutions provider. What are the outsourced, non-academic things that your school does that we could do better or cheaper or in a way that's maybe more aligned with their missions? So we're exploring not only moving from just 3,000 or 4,000 to 50, maybe every school in America one day. We've served schools, by the way, in 47 states. And the goal, I've made a challenge to the company. We want to hit all 50 by July. So next time I see you, hopefully we've served schools in all 50 states. But middle schools, and then the technology platform we're developing, can we serve organizations that are not schools and help them raise funds with all of our really unique proprietary software we've been building? And then at the same time, are there other solutions? A holiday shop, a spiritware. We have a Booster Spiritware as our spiritware company. And we print 2.5 million T-shirts this year. And then we're getting more into promotional products. And so what are ways we could take the non-educational stuff away from school so they can focus on education,
Right.
And we can serve them. And in doing so, we're involved in the community and helping these schools in various ways and inspiring them to change the world, which they're already doing.
Fantastic. What are you anxious about?
I'm living in my mind in 2025 right now. I am anxious that we don't accomplish what I said at the rate in which I want to accomplish it.
Because that would make you feel
like we're managing, like we're stalling out, like we're not serving others, like we're becoming average and not growing. When we don't have a growth mindset, we're not growing. It just feels boring.
right.
And if it's boring for me, if it's boring for our team, we can't attract great talent. It's just so, I want to hit the gas and grow faster and do more than we have done. I think we've learned a lot, and I think our foundation's a lot better than it was a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
So anxious about not accomplishing
So
those
this
goals.
is Anthony. This is the thing about sevens, right? Like as I'm listening to him, I want to quit my job and go work for
Right.
him.
That's exactly right.
Internal, that's perfect.
100%.
Seriously,
I love it.
was like, forget the Enneagram.
Right.
I could.
Right.
I want to like go work for Booster, man. I want to
Don't
go,
forget
like,
it. Take all of who you are and bring it to Booster. There's an opening in our HR department. This is a formal offer. It's official. I don't need to check with anybody.
We can
Bring the
create
best of who you
we
are.
can create a sound room for the podcast.
Yeah, we will.
Oh man! Wow, it's starting to feel better. I like Atlanta. Nothing wrong with Atlanta.
Great restaurants.
No, it's really good. I like Atlanta. What so for you, Stan, what are you most excited about now? What doesn't make you anxious?
Well, when I hear this, and
Right.
I know this is Booster.
Right.
The challenge, and I'm speaking. Hopefully, I don't get in the weeds as a CFO here, but I look at it from a standpoint, and it's counterintuitive to most people who are non-financial, that it takes cash to grow a company. You think growing a company creates more cash, but you got to
Right.
spend more money to grow
Right.
it. So one of the things I've been focused on my entire time at Booster is making sure that we have the capital structure, as you call it, as one would call it, or a healthy balance sheet so that we can accomplish these goals. And the great remarkable thing about Chris, as the owner of the company, he has put the vast majority of the earnings of Booster back in to make that possible.
Mm.
And so what I think about when I hear that is that we're in a good spot to weather a downturn or to grow the company because of Chris's dedication to putting a lot of the money back into it. So my anxiety levels early on were, do we have enough cash to accomplish it? And we have a seasonal business. So if you think about it, we're out of business in the summer because schools are closed. So we're not creating revenue. So when we hit that summer dip, I want to make sure we have enough cash. That's the kind of thing. Now I'm getting in the weeds with finance stuff, but
Someone's got to go there,
I'm
man.
sorry. So I'll stop there.
Okay, but are you seeing the secret sauce here, Anthony?
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
so this is the paragon or a wonderful exemplar of what I'm talking to companies about all the time.
Mm.
This beautiful complementary sort of, you bring together teams of people who see the world from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
They complement each other. And because they understand how the other sees the world, they're able to optimize the relationship to create a really, really great culture
Yep.
from the top down.
That's it.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Now, if they didn't know their types, right?
Right.
The inefficiencies, the misunderstandings, the conflict, the decision making, all of those things would be vastly, they would be impeded, right?
Yeah.
But when you have on board this kind of level of self-awareness and self-knowledge, and I know this relationship isn't perfect, no
Sure,
relationship
of
is
course.
perfect, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But this company, I just tell you from a firsthand perspective, Booster is like, honest to goodness, and I've worked with lots of them, arguably the healthiest company I've ever worked with.
Mm.
That's awesome.
Honestly.
We're recording.
Awesome.
Keep that on. I want to send that to my entire team. It's true. I'd agree.
I'm being utterly sincere, because you have this wonderful balance going on here of enthusiasm in the best sense of the word, not mindless enthusiasm, right? Not childish enthusiasm, childlike enthusiasm, which is a good thing, right? Which is that ability for wonder and curiosity and yes, we can, and let's go do it. You know what I mean? That's smart. I wish everyone had that, right? As adults. But we have all of that energy and juice, right? Married to wisdom and, the ability to pause, to reflect. And so when you do that, the two of you are just really pretty powerful force. The two of you together is a lot more powerful than either the two of you alone.
Yeah.
Right? The sum of your parts is greater than, either
Yeah.
one of you two. So I actually kind of sit in awe watching the two of you together. And I felt this way when we were together last. It really felt to me like there is something really special going on here in this company. Not just in its mission, but in its execution,
Awesome.
and in the culture. And so I'm always telling leaders, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but I'm like, if you think that investing, in culture creation, helping people understand each other, in creating a culture where self-awareness and self-knowledge are held up as values, if you think that's a waste of time and money, then you are not seeing the long game.
That's right.
You're just not. You're not seeing it. You're thinking the short game, and you're thinking, how can we make as much as fast as we can, regardless of people?
Yep.
That is may feel good in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to yield, poor results.
Only the leaders at the top can determine that, and I can't speak to changing a culture. I as a founder starter, I got to create it the way I want it to be, and made plenty of mistakes, and still am. But and I just don't view. I see too many people viewing their people as a way to make the organization successful. I view our organization success as a way to make our people successful.
Right.
I mean, let's use the organization, the momentum we have, the platform we have, to change the world by benefiting the people that work for us and those that we get to serve. So,
Man.
Good.
You guys,
So good.
I could talk about this forever. Seriously, I love these kinds of conversations, and I'm so delighted that you took the time to fly into Nashville just to hang out and be on the podcast. And I hold both of you in great esteem in the work that you're doing, and I'm so thrilled that your work with the Enneagram and your value of self-awareness inside of corporate cultures is producing the desired effect for you. And my gosh, keep inviting me back.
We'll see you in July.
Yeah,
that's right.
I
can't wait for the whole organization to experience you and your passion for this. And
man, we're gonna have a good time.
It's gonna be awesome.
We're gonna have a good time. Everybody, I want you to go check out what Booster's doing. How do people find out about Booster?
Boosterthon.com.
Yeah.
Check it out. We're probably serving many of the schools of some current listeners, so we're thankful for our donors, clients, team members. We're in your city. We'd love to serve your school.
All right, go check that out. Anthony.
Yes.
and theos, buddy. I want you to go out this week and have a little enthusiasm like Chris here, okay?
I will.
Need to bring a little booster to our lives.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're so glad you were listening. And remember the words of the great author Oscar Wilde. Be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. See ya.